What's up, everybody? Welcome to Game Moose's E3 2018 Sony Showcase wrap up. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Turford, alongside the ghost with the most, Drew McMillan. Joining me via satellite from an undisclosed location, aka Game Moose Studio 1. This is Game Moose Studio 2.
I prefer Game
Or
Moose
0.
Site Zero.
Site 0. I forgot. It's Site 0. That's my bad.
Fucking stupid nerd about that.
So let's talk about this really weird press conference.
It was unusual.
Show that we saw.
They did say it was not going to be a traditional press conference, and hot diggity damn, it was not traditional. It was a little strange. They focused largely on 4 games. They told us what those games were going to be in advance, and what to expect that they were going to be full gameplay showcases, and they were. I mean, essentially, we had one sort of small surprise thrown in the middle there, one sort of like quick announcement with no gameplay in there as well. So we'll go through sort of like in chronological order, and we'll talk about as we go through sort of there was some weirdness at this event, right?
Yeah, there was some really, really weird stuff. So we'll talk about the weirdness after we talk about all the games that we saw. So first thing, The Last of Us 2, they started the show off with a bang. They showed gameplay from The Last of Us Part 2. They showed some of the dynamic combat encounters as well as set up a bit of the story with Ellie. Still no release date, obviously, because who the fuck knows when this game's coming out. I'm guessing late 2019, early 2020.
Long time from now.
So even though this is the second time you're doing this, Drew, what do you think about The Last of Us 2?
I think it stands out as probably one of the most exciting things we've seen at E3 so far. It was obviously it blew away. Like it was one of the best things of the show. One of the best things that Sony showed tonight. It's the whole like execution of it, the whole cleverness of like showing the that cutscene and sort of like the tension with Ellie and her partner, because and then cutting to Ellie and those combat encounters. You get the impression that something really bad happens to Ellie, and that's why she's really mad. And they really milked that tension in a really cool way. You get to see her do some really, really intense, fucked up stuff. And then, of course,
she totally
cutting back to
up.
that moment again with her partner, and that's sort of like how they're sort of really, really tightly buttoned it up. It was just some really good writing, some really, really, really gorgeous, stunning visuals and presentation. It was just like front to back, everything about it. The gameplay looked really awesome. I really want to know how much of that was procedural and how much of that was scripted. How much were they railroaded into some of those things, and how much was just it happening on the fly? Because if that was all procedural, that's incredible.
For sure,
that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I mean, because some of that combat almost looked too good. Like there was some level of scriptedness there. I wonder if you played the combat encounter differently, if you could sneak by everyone, or likewise if you alerted someone right at the beginning, and ran a different way, if you'd have like a different encounter. That's more what I'm concerned about. And the thing is, when they originally showed the original Last of Us gameplay demo on stage at E3, they then did follow that up with a behind closed doors demo where they approached the exact same situation in a completely different way. And I'm kind of curious if there's something like that where some people at E3 are going to go behind the scenes with this game, like behind closed doors, and see like a different way to approach that same encounter, and how much different that really is. That's what I'm really interested in, like how much of that is a game and not just a linear cutscene.
That's the $1 million question, right? That's really gonna determine, to me anyway. I mean, I don't know how much whether I love this game or whether I never want to play another game ever again because this is a perfect masterpiece.
God, you're hyping yourself up too much, because if you hype yourself too much, you will only be disappointed. You don't want
to. I don't know. Like this just looks it's stunning. All I can say is I'm thrilled about this. I'm looking at some animated GIFs, some choice moments from the trailer, and fuck, it's just incredible. Just incredible. Yeah. Sadly, no.
It's definitely of course. But I mean, we knew when it was first announced It was very, very early on in development, and it's like I said, I still think it's like one of going to be like the perfect sunset to the PS4 specifically. Especially if this comes out late next year, like it's going to be the game that like brings us into the PS5 the next year. Because I keep saying 2020, I'm pretty sure about this 2020 thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up, God of War got a new game plus announcement in this really weird intermission where they basically had set up the theater to look like the dance floor from The Last of Us Part 2, sort of that scene. They ushered everyone out of the building as Brock McLaughlin, fellow co-host, said to us, and then they brought everyone back in, but they had this weird intermission while they were setting up for it, and that's where they announced God of War is getting a new Game Plus mode coming at some point in a new update. It's on the PlayStation blog, so they have all that. They also announced during the intermission, Black Ops 4 is getting 4 remastered Call of Duty maps from various games, as well as Black Ops 3 is on PS Plus tonight. So if you have PS Plus and you didn't buy Black Ops 3 like I did, you can go get it for free right now. It can be yours. It features a single player campaign, unlike Black Ops 4. So
that was the big sort of one of the weirdest things of this press conference in terms of execution was just that we had this really cool moment where we realized, oh shit, the room where they're doing that presentation in, everybody is that's the same room where that scripted sequence takes place, and then they made everybody leave, and we watched some commentators talk about the press conference that we were watching while we were watching it, which was really strange. And then Sean Layden came out and said, "Hey, heck of a press conference, huh? Huh? How about this press conference that I'm doing right now?"
You mean after the first thing? Yeah. They were talking about how awesome the press conference was so far during the press conference. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was really weird. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't it was after 10 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
They made everybody leave, and then they went into. I'm not clear on this. You seem to think they reset that space. I think they went to a different theater.
Oh, maybe
they went to an adjoining space.
Oh, that's true, because there weren't people standing in the second theater. That's
yes.
Right. Okay.
So so they made everybody get up and leave, and that's when we transitioned to the next game that they showed, which is
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Sucker Punch's new game. There again, another musical performance. The first
this is the E3 of musical performances. True.
Yeah, the first part of it. Yeah, the Last of Us aspect of it opened with a banjo performance by a gentleman who a lot of people cheered for, but I didn't recognize. And then
we had a Ghost of Tsushima musical.
Then we had a Ghost of Tsushima performance by a gentleman playing an instrument that I don't visually recognize, but sounds familiar from watching movies set in or about Japan. So again, it was weird, that whole transition. But then Ghost of Tsushima looked really cool. It looked like a badass like samurai movie.
Yeah, I mean, it basically, like, visual-wise, first of all, it's open world. We didn't know if it was an open world game, but now we do.
We don't know how open world, Ryan. That's not fair. Well, what we know is that he was on a horse and he appeared to be able to go in any direction he so chose, but we don't know what that means.
We don't know the level of the open world.
Yeah, we don't know, like, are these really large levels, or is this one contiguous open world?
Yeah. But what's cool is once you got to this area where a whole bunch of other samurais were, the combat looks very Onimusha-like as far as the samurai combat. And then there was also a stealth section where they were sort of sneaking up on like a ruined building, and it almost went into like Batman Arkham Asylum mode, where you were basically planning your attack and then you sort of executed it in the building. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. It looked cool. Everyone speaks English in this game so far, and it appears to be that the main sort of the villain of this game, or villains, the force you're fighting against are the Mongols. So it's set
Yep.
during the Mongol invasion of Japan, which is a historically accurate thing that happened
It's a real thing. It's a real
a
event. It
way
happened.
long time ago.
Yep.
There was, I mean, it ended beautifully. That whole like the
Yeah.
showdown
The
with
samurai
the
showdown.
red, yeah, the red leaves falling in the Sam show, as it were.
Yeah.
The guy like dueling his friend, what seemed really intense. Looks really
Yeah.
gorgeous. Looks cool as hell. How it plays will be another thing. I mean,
Yeah. How much of
Sucker
that,
Punch
again, the
is,
same question with Last of Us, like how much of that was scripted, how much of that was actual gameplay?
yeah. And also,
Same
like,
boat.
just what buttons am I pushing, and what is the system like? I know you really like Sucker Punch games. I think some of the places where, like, Sucker Punch was really, their open world games were really great in terms of like traversal, but their
Mhm.
combat to me wasn't always awesome. Hopefully they do a better job with this game.
I think it was much more grounded in a game like Sly than it was in Infamous. And
Yeah,
I just have more faith in maybe their melee combat versus their range combat. And that's what
yeah,
they're going for in this game. So that's why
right.
I have faith that the combat will actually be pretty fun in this game. But again, we really don't know for sure. Again, this one also seems really far out, like
Yeah,
2019, 2020. Who knows? There was no
yeah,
date or anything on it. It'll come out when it's done, essentially.
yeah,
So the next thing we got was a surprise. We knew that this game was going to be announced at E3 because Remedy, the folks who made Quantum Break and Alan Wake,
yeah,
had announced before E3 that they were coming to the show to announce their new game.
yeah.
And we got it on the Sony stage, which is kind of crazy because they've always been a Microsoft
Microsoft. Yeah,
studio. Essentially, they've been a second party with Microsoft, kind of like Playground Games, who was recently acquired. So
yeah.
their new game is called Control. It
Mhm.
stars a female protagonist, and it looks really weird.
Yeah. It was
She's
super
like a
bizarre.
lab experiment, and
Yeah, there's like sort of like reality shifting kind of stuff. I mean, I
yeah,
even thought for a moment it was Death Stranding. That's how weird
it's
it
true.
was.
You did say that,
Yeah,
but we do know that it is coming out next year.
yeah,
So 2019 is when it's coming out. I don't think it's an exclusive. I think it's a multi-platform game, but they didn't say anything about that.
cool.
But it's interesting to see them on the PlayStation stage
Yeah,
for sure. So next up, probably out of all these games, one of my my second most anticipated after The Last of Us, Resident Evil 2 remake got a really awesome trailer, sort of setting up that game. Of course,
yeah.
it's in the RE7 engine.
Hmm.
I don't think it's first person. I think it's a third person game, but we didn't see
We didn't
any
really
of the
see
gameplay.
that. Yeah, just a lot
No,
of
it
like
was just a story trailer.
again cinematics, like in-game sort of like scripted events and stuff like that, but no
Yeah.
HUD elements, no typewriter ribbons. It seems to be very modernized. It doesn't seem to be at all like the traditional RE2. Is like they've gone, the look is way darker, the aesthetic is way darker, the and more sort of realistic, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, because it has very much the same vibes that RE7 had, really.
yeah,
So yeah, that comes out. We have a release date, January 25th, 2019. It's like the Kingdom Hearts comes out that
yeah,
Friday, and then this comes out on the
mm,
Tuesday, I believe, which is kind of crazy.
yeah,
I'm really excited for it though, because I love Resident Evil 2. So next up,
mm.
Trover Saves the Universe was announced.
Yeah.
It was an interesting announcement to have on this press conference stage. It's a game. That's it. They kind of made fun of it itself, essentially. There's no date or anything on it. It's like
No.
this action platform shooting game.
So
We
for,
don't
for
really
those
know
of you
much
who
else about
don't know, it's from Justin Roiland. Justin Roiland is one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, and
Mhm.
there was no sense of what kind of game this is. Just weird, wacky cartoon characters in the theme that Justin Roiland often does. These weird, rambling, improvised,
Yeah.
nonsensical bits. Bathtub Man watching the trailer. The guy comes out and says someone calls 711 because it has a
That's what
sci-fi
911
premise
is in their thing. Yeah.
in their universe. Yeah, it was just so weird. It was really
Yeah.
bizarre. Uh,
Weird trailer.
yeah. We should also mention that between each of these trailers now, especially, we were seeing interstitials from dreams, these weird little
Yep.
moments from dreams, but like they didn't actually ever acknowledge that.
They also didn't say anything about dreams at all.
No.
Maybe in this post show they might say something.
Yeah.
The post show that we're not watching, but
Well, I've got it up. I've got it muted up on my TV here, and they're just went through Ghost of Tsushima. So they
Yeah.
if they've talked about it, they haven't talked about it yet.
Okay, cool. So you're keeping us updated. Well, it's
Yeah.
okay. We only got 4 more announcements to go to talk to.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3, Drew, for the 4th time this weekend, we saw another trailer for this game.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean World confirmed. It was shown. Captain Jack Sparrow's in this game. They also announced that there's an all-in-one pack, so if you don't have any of the Kingdom Hearts games, you can buy them all at once if you want to. That's a thing. They also unveiled a new PS4 Pro that is a Kingdom Hearts 3 PS4 Pro that I think comes with the all-in-one pack as well. So if you like Kingdom Hearts, there's a trailer for you. I don't like Kingdom Hearts, so I don't have much to say about that. Every time I see one of those trailers, I'm like, what the fuck am I even watching?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's just like incomprehensible anime melodrama and like the Disney characters. It just feels so like incongruous in such a strange way. I really don't get it. I really don't get it.
If Brock was here, he'd be telling us why this trailer was amazing. But Brock's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
So, as a result, we are going to move on to something even stranger than Kingdom Hearts somehow. Death Stranding got this weird, like, kind of gameplay trailer, but kind of not really, because you just watched Norman Reedus walk for miles and miles.
So here's what we learned from this trailer. Yeah, Norman Reedus is some kind of delivery person. That's a thing.
He can't die.
Yeah,
if they kill him, he just leaves a crater there where he dies.
Well, not necessarily if he dies. They just like if they eat him. So what they are, they don't explain. There's some like female character who seems somewhat interesting. She's
got cool spiked soldiers.
Yeah, she referred to him by a name, which was interesting, and the weird oil handprints showed up, and
they had to hide from them.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this game.
They of course had to have Norman Reedus showering, hanging out in the shower.
Norman Reedus nipples confirmed, definitely in the game, so that's good. Yep. I feel good about that.
Jesus Christ, Drew, what the fuck is this game?
I don't know. I have no fucking idea. They showed us gameplay, and I still have no idea what this game is.
But what was even the gameplay that we saw? It was what?
Yeah, there was no HUD, there was no graphical elements, there was no indication of like how they were controlling the character, or what they were doing, or why they were doing it.
Like there were 2 gameplay sections. One where he just walks and walks and walks, and then the other one where he's sneaking by the handprint monsters that are unnamed, so I'm calling them handprint monsters. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. By the way, Ryan, I just wanted to mention right now that as we were talking about Death Stranding, they are in fact now in the post game showing dreams in action. So they're it looks like a dual PlayStation Move kind of game where you got these 2 little characters and you're using them to manipulate the environment and create these little scenes. I don't know.
That's what you do in dreams, man.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. So they're using like a clone tool, and they're like, this is bizarre. I don't know. It reminds me a little bit of Project Spark.
Okay.
So far, but then
you can build your own games in dreams, Drew.
Yeah,
you can play a game within dreams.
Trippier and trippier and trippier. Like so, they're using they're grabbing like a rock that's got moss on it, and then copying it like 30 times and stretching it out and twisting it, and I don't know. It's weird. It's really bizarre, as you'd expect from a game called Dreams that they can't really describe what kind of game it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So
I quickly showed the people at home what you were talking about. So all right, let's move on though. We got 2 more games to talk about.
Yeah.
One really exciting to me because I loved the first game. Neo 2 was announced from our friends at Team Ninja.
Yeah, real quick cinematic trailer for Neo 2, and then that was about it.
Literally nothing else about it. It had the Neo 1 theme at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to play another Neo because I love the first one.
That's
Even
a
though I
lot
don't
of.
like Souls games.
We're getting a lot of samurai games in the next little while, eh?
Samurais are coming back in a big way, man.
Yeah.
And the last one, of course, Spider-Man had a cool like gameplay trailer, and you could definitely tell what parts were gameplay and then what parts were cinematics, more so than any of the other games we saw tonight. But I mean, obviously, it's coming out in a few months. I would certainly hope we're basically seeing what this game looks like at this point. It looked awesome. They basically, in a weird way, confirmed that most of the Sinister Six is present because we had Electro,
Yeah.
we had Vulture, Rhino, Negative Man, and then I'm missing someone. No, I think I have everyone.
I think you have everyone.
Yeah,
Scorpion.
doesn't matter.
Scorpion.
Oh, Scorpion. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. So yeah, lots of villains so far, and we don't even know if that's all the villains.
Yeah.
Because he sees someone else before the trailer goes to black.
Yeah. And then there was a whole. So the whole thing was like it was set on the Raft, which is like a prison sort of. It's the Arkham Asylum of the Marvel universe. And there's a prison break, and all these bad guys are getting out. And yeah, they kept talking about how somebody's pulling their strings. Right? They're saying like someone's instructing these bad guys on what to do, but we didn't see who that was. My theory is it's Doctor Octopus. It's usually Doctor Octopus. He's usually sort of the brains of the operation. That or Kingpin, Wilson
He's
Fisk.
like the most classic Spider-Man villain, Doctor Octopus.
And well, he's typically like I said, he's the brains. If someone was going to come up with like an elaborate plan to sort of like band villains together to help defeat Spider-Man, it's going to be Doctor Octopus. But also,
see,
Wilson
part of
Fisk
me
is also known.
Part of me feels like it's not him. Part of me feels like it's not Doc Ock, only because of the like surprised reaction he had at the end of the trailer.
Right.
Like, because it almost like sounded like it's not a typical Spider-Man villain.
Right.
I guess.
You think
or
J.
someone who
Jonah
was expected.
Jameson?
Yeah. Or J. Jonah Jameson, or like Harry Osborn, or
Right.
Mary Jane. Mary Jane's the villain in this game.
Yeah,
She's pulling the strings.
Harry Osborn, as a matter of fact, I wouldn't say wouldn't be unreasonable. But yeah, something like Mary Jane, that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Or Aunt May. It's Aunt May.
Oh God, it was Uncle Ben all along, Drew.
Yeah, Uncle Ben was never dead. He was plotting the downfall of Peter this whole time.
Clearly. What if it's Miles Morales? Maybe he's actually evil.
We do. Miles is in this game, and Miles did not make an appearance in.
I mean, anyone could be at fault. Maybe it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Maybe Wolverine's the evil one, like in that symbiote Spider-Man game that came out, Web of Shadows.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was all the games they showed. They didn't show a ton of them. Again, the games that they said they were going to do deep dives on, they did deep dives on, and they did say we'd get a couple of announcements, and we did. Overall, I was a little disappointed with this conference. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or anything like that. I was expecting to be blown away by a lot of the stuff, and I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I guess like Spider-Man really impressed me, as it did before. Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us did as well, and then Resident Evil Remake. But some of the stuff we just like we have no idea what half the games are. Like Control, it comes from a great studio, and the combat that they showed from it looks cool, but it's like, who the fuck even knows what that game is? Or Death Stranding, for God's sakes, trying to explain to someone what Death Stranding is, just forget about it. Like, they have an awesome slate of games coming in the future, but we still don't know. Like, we didn't have an announcement of anything for this year other than Spider-Man. Like, again, a lot of people gave Xbox flack for not having any games for this year other than Forza announced at their conference. But on the flip side of the coin with Sony, all we know that's coming this year is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
From the first party side.
Yeah.
Like, there are third party exclusives, but there's not like another Sony game or anything like that, or they didn't announce anything here.
Also, let's compare this to the Sony press conference 2 years ago, where it was just surprise after surprise after surprise after surprise after like just great game reveal after great game reveal after great game reveal.
I think we labeled it as the year of dreams, Drew.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah. So and who knows? I guess they at a certain point they have to. A lot of those games were a long way off, and we're like, so these all sound great, but they actually have to come out at some point, and they sound far away. And
Yeah.
you know, uh, they still kind of are. You know,
Yeah.
but they
Because
sound like God of War.
again,
God of War sound. Yeah.
yeah. Because a lot of these dates, a lot of these games we got tonight, there's just no dates on them. So who the
Nope.
F knows when they're coming out? Like Death Stranding, is that game coming out before 2020? We'll find out
Oh
next
God,
year.
who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Is that even a game? Will it ever come out? Or
Will the game just
like
go indefinitely?
Kojima, yeah, or will like Kojima just like put out like a video of him on the beach with like Stephanie Johnson just going like, the game is out, you are playing it, it is life, the end. I'm watching them now build that that church that they appeared in for the press conference. There, yes. So in fact, there are two stages side by side, two very large tents.
Okay.
One was the church, and the other was the that larger sort of like stadium space that they built. So that church, they reproduced it from the game, which is pretty neat. It's
Okay.
pretty cool. Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it looks like the space there on the ground is pretty cool. I'm sure Brock's having a good time.
I mean, he's got to be doing something, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, again, it was an okay conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just Microsoft totally stole it though this year. They totally stole their thunder. The Microsoft conference was just heads and tails, like just so far above the Sony conference this year.
Yeah.
I'm just a little shocked at the moment by that. But yeah, any closing thoughts before we go, Drew?
Yeah. Still, Last of Us still blew me away. I would watch that whole press conference again just for Last of Us, but the rest of it was kind of meh. And Spider-Man, we know it's Spider-Man. I just want to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, like we talked about in the
so,
pre-show, like I kind of don't even want to know more about that game because I'm already sold. I already want to go play it right now because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you think, listener or viewer of this video, of the Sony E3 press conference? Let us know at game_moose_cast on Twitter, on Facebook at facebook.com/Game Moose Podcast. In fact, speaking of the Game Moose Podcast segue, you can find the Game Moose Podcast every single week on iTunes, Stitcher, and podcast services around the globe, Mondays at noon Eastern Standard Time. You can also find our website, game-moose.com, for all kinds of reviews and cool articles about stuff. Yeah. Anyways, for Drew McMillan, I'm Ryan Turford. Thanks for watching our reactions to the Sony E3 press conference, and we'll see you tomorrow for Nintendo.
Yeah,
Good night,
tomorrow.
everybody.